Hello everyone, I hope I am audible.
Yes, you are. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. So I'll be sharing my screen. Let me talk about the agenda for today. So yesterday I was left with the string array. So first I will cover this, and after that there is the enhanced for loop, or you can say for each loop. And next one is class and objects. I will be talking about class and object little bit. Then I will be coming to constructor chaining. After that I have to start with inheritance. So this much part I will be covering. So I will give an introduction only for inheritance today, and I'll ask you to explore some little bit about the inheritance, and then I'll be next week I'll be covering oops concept. So next Saturday and Sunday is very important, right? So full flash, at least 3-point hour class will be there for next Saturday. But before that I want to confirm one thing, that there may be a chance, or in this weekend, or they may be next or next to next. If not this weekend, the upcoming weekend, then after 17 of September I will be having a 1 week uh, delay, because I have to shift my home. So because first to 17 uh, September is a Pitar Paksha, so we can't change home at those days. But I will check and let you know about the update, right? So I'll be starting with the string array first. So yesterday I have covered integer array, right? Similarly, string array are how to declare string array. String, here you can define array is equal to new. I have not covered this topic, right? Or I have covered that?
No.
No,
Oh,
just integer array is covered.
oh, okay, okay. Now new string, and here you have to give size. Okay. So this is similar as you declare integer array. So what is the difference? Just first ignore it, and let's understand some part of string first. Just pause here for few minutes, and let's understand first about the strings. Suppose I give a name string, name is equal to Vandan, and string name 2, because variable name can't be same, so I have to change a little bit, Vandan, right? And here if I want to compare, if I want to compare if name is equal to name 2, So what will be the output? If equals, then equal names, else sys out not equal, right? So this message, after that this will be closed. So what will be the output for it? This is one line. Second, let me write something over here. A string name, suppose n is equal to new string Vandan, string n2 is equal to new string Vandan, right? Same, Vandan is written here and Vandan is written here as well. Now if I want to compare n1 is equal to n2, if these are equal, then sys out equal, else sys out here not equal, right? So this is some data. What does it mean? So what is the difference between, you will getting answer that equals to and dot equals method, right? Dot equals, let me write why it's okay. Here you can see I have assigned a value to this variable, right? Here I have assigned a value to this variable. Here this new keyword is used, right? So this new keyword will assign some reference to this n. This new keyword will assign some reference to this n, right? Wait a minute. Okay, this new keyword will assign some reference to this n. This n will be created. This new keyword will assign some reference to this n2. This n2 will be created, and here inside this n I am storing Vandan. Here also storing Vandan. Both are same, but if I will compare this n1 is equal to n2, so these references will be compared, these addresses will be compared, right? But addresses will be never same, that's why it will coming to else part, right? And here I am assigning value to this name, right? I am assigning value to this name variable, so these values will be compared, so answer will be equal, right? But here thing is different. Here is new keyword, a new keyword will be assigning address reference, that's why it's called a reference variable. Okay, so how can I compare content inside it? If this is comparing the references, so how can I compare the content? Just write like this, n1 dot equals n2. This will override this addresses and it will compare the content, right? But upper and lower case will be considered. If here the uppercase and here small case, so this will be not equal. In that case I have to compare like this, n1 dot equals ignore case is another matter, ignore case. I will show you in Eclipse. So if anybody has any issues related to it, then ask me, otherwise I will be coming to Eclipse IDE.
Can you use that dot equals for comparing string directly?
Yeah, of course we can use it for this also. Here you can also write this name dot equals, right? Why name dot equals, here you can also write like this, similar way you can do it. Suppose I want to do it like this, but you can understand for why. If I have the string name n is equal to write some name, right, and string n2 is equal to some name over here. Why I want to compare? I can directly compare n1 is equal to n2 or not, because this will assigned with the values, not the references, right? There is no such use for that, but we can do this dot equals. We don't want to compare with the double equals to operator, so we can directly compare with the that dot equals method, right? Let me show. Here I will make a separate package. Okay, there was it at 7 p.m. no such vision. Let's delete it. It will remove your, you don't need to correct it. Okay, now I'll make a package for the array, right? Here I'll be giving an example about string array. Just take some of it. String name is equal to, suppose Bandhan, string name 2 is equal to Bandhan. Now if I compare the content, if name is equal to name 2, then just print sys out equals, right, equal, else it will go back to else part and it will be printing not equal. If I'll run it, both are equal, so it will print equal, right? Suppose I make caps over here. Now if I want to compare, so answer will be not equal, because it will consider these upper and lower cases, right? If I want to compare with and ignore the caps and smalls, so use that method name dot equals ignore case and pass here name 2. So this will compare your without comparing the upper and lower cases, so both are equal, right? The method explain itself, right? That equals ignore case. Okay, ignore case, case means upper or lower case. Now here just go back and see that you have compared with the equals to operator. So this differences between equals to and dot equals method, actually this double equals to compare the references, right? But when you go with the dot equals method, it compares only content, and this double equals to compare both, depends what you are assigning to it. Suppose if you are assigning addresses to it, so if it will compare the addresses, and if you are going to assign the values to it, because here I have assigned the value to it, right? So this name will hold the Vandan, this value, right? But if I go with the dot equals, so it will compare the content only. But if here I use like this, just let me show. I will comment this code. Suppose here, not this way. If I describe it with the using new operator, string name is equal to new string, like this. Name2 is equal to new string, like this. Now both are equal, right? Cases are also equal. Still, just because of both different two of objects will be comparing different addresses, right? So this will never same. So what I can do, I have to write instead of this, this I will write name dot equals, here I will pass name2. So this time our output should be equal, right? But similarly, if I make it a small case and this one is the uppercase and this v is the small case, so similarly not equal, because it will compare the cases also. So here I can use that equals ignore case method, right? And here pass name2 and just correct your code. And now this time, so same you guys have some idea about these strings, right? Now I'll be talking about the string array. So just remove the here I'll make another class string array example. Now I will declare string array. For array you have to use these brackets, right? And define names. The students will have some names. Names, new string. Suppose I have 3 names, right? So first I will assign, similarly I have assigned for the integer array names, first index will be 0, right? I have yesterday I have explained why this 0, right? Array indexes starts from 0. Name 0 is equal to, suppose I give it here 1 there. Name 1 is equal to Sumit. Name 2 is equal to, suppose I give whatever, Neha. And now this time, because variable is names, that's why it's giving error over here, right? So I will make it correct first. Now what will happen, this array of size 3 have 3 values, right? Now if I want to print it, similarly I will print it like, suppose name 2. So what it will print, because in second index we have Neha, so it will print Neha, right? Now if I want to print so suppose if I want to print all of these values, so I can use for loop, right? So print all these values using for loop. For int I is equal to 0, I less than length is 3, so I should be less than 3 because it's starting from 0 1 2, so 3 times it will run, right? I plus plus, and just sys out name and print here I. So first time I will be 0, right? So it will come and print name 0, name 0 is Bandhan. Second time I will be 1, I value will be incremented and I value will be 1, right? So if I value will be 1, it will print name 1, it will print Sumit, and third time the value of I will be 2 and it will print name 2. Fourth time I value 3, 3 is not less than 3, so come out of the loop. So it will print in order. Similarly, Vandan, Sumit and Neha, right? Okay, here I can give same as name dot length, right? Oh, names dot length, array name dot length. So here I have passed names dot length, right? So it will run 3 times, because here it will get value of 3 size, it will get size of the array, right? Names dot length, right? So it will print 3 as size, right? And again this loop will run 3 times, right? So that's why I can also take, if I don't know the size of the array, so I can take this, right? Okay, one more thing, this is the for loop. How can I use enhanced for loop? What is enhanced for loop? This one is you can see that this one is a kind of object, right? Because we have used this with new keyword, so this is a kind of object, right? So enhanced for loop, you can use this. Just type for e and just control and space, it will make you for that. Eclipse will make you for that, but I'll explaining how you can do it by yourself. What first let's understand this shortcut for e and control space. Please mute yourself. Who is unmuted? Please mute yourself. Who is this? Please mute yourself. Silas, please mute if you can mute yourself. Okay, so here FORE and control space, so it will make this for each loop for you, but just first ignore it and let's understand from basic. I have to iterate this string array till its length, right? How can I do it? Just write for. Similarly, here check the type of this array. Type of array is string. Just write a string over here, right? Now because this string variable, you have to give some name to it, right? Variable name. Suppose I have given object, put a column over here, and here what was the value, in which variable values were stored in names, right? And just open and close parenthesis and just print this object variable obj. So it will print all the values for you, right? It printed the Vandan, Sumit and Neha. So you don't need to care about the length if you don't know the size of the array. If you don't know the size of the object, you can iterate over with this for each loop, right? So how can I do it? Just use this type, data type, right over here. What, and the data type will surely have been assigned with some values, and that first you should know that variable you have written the data type over here, and then any variable, give any name. Suppose I give string, right? Whatever I want to give. Suppose I want to give AB, right? So I have to print AB over here, right? These names will give values to this AB one by one, and this AB will be printed one by one, right? Similarly, internally whatever we write like this, we work with the for each loop when we have to work with objects, right? So if you have to knowledge about the length of array, and you have to iterate, or you have to give some logic at any point of moment, then you can go with the for loop. Otherwise, if you are working with the object, suppose you have a class and you have to iterate the object of that class, then you can prefer this for each loop. That will be helping. But syntax you have to know otherwise the things will be coming, you will be getting why we have learned this for each loop, right? So I hope this is clear to all. If anybody has any doubt related to it, please ask me. Okay, so I'll be moving to class and objects. Suppose we have to make a calculator program, or we have a project of calculator. So inside a calculator project there will be thousands of classes, right? Just take a small example from that. Suppose we have a class mathematical operations, MOPOOPR, right? And in that class we have a method, we have some methods like void add, and this performing int c is equal to a plus b. We have another method void subtract, and this is performing int c is equal to a minus b. Another method void subtract, sorry, division, c is equal to a modulus b, or divide by b. If you want to get remainder, then use this modulus operator, otherwise use division operator. Suppose I am going to write a scientific calculator class scientific calc, right? And inside this scientific calculator class I have uses of this add operation, right? I have to perform two add of two variables. Just take this as an example. Don't think that this type of requirements will be with you, right? This will not going to happen, but for the understanding purpose, just take it as an example. Suppose your co-worker has made this class and you have to write a class for scientific calculator, and you have usage of this same method. You have to perform the addition of two variables. So is it worthful to write this code again? No, you can directly use it, right? How can you use it? Inside this class, just make the object of this class, right, and call this method. How can you do it? Right, because you have to make object of this class, so just write first there will be main method, right, for this class, and then you can write it MOPER object, class name object variable is equal to new MOPER, right, and just directly call object dot, object is this dot this add method. If you have uses of this add method only, you can call this method only, right? So this will save some time. Don't think that here you have also written 2 lines of code and here 1 line of code. There may be thousands of lines inside this add method, right? Because we are not going to add these two numbers only, right? There will be thousands of lines, thousands of logical lines present in this add method. So you can save that time by writing these 2 lines of code only, right? So making class and objects, you can see that there will be class. Every class will have some separate operation to perform. Every methods will have some instructions to complete, right? So that's why we work with class and objects with OOPS concept. So code reusability will be there if you are working with this class and objects, right? And in Java, everything about the class and objects. From day one, I am making a class, and inside same class making main method and just compiling and running it, right? But don't write all the code inside this main method. Will be, you can say that thousand of 20,000 to 20 lakhs line of code will be inside a project maybe, right? So is it worthwhile to write all the code inside main method? No. For every separate operation, if you are going to perform the mathematical operation, there will be a separate class for it, right? If you are, suppose if you have e-commerce project, so there may be thousands of requirement, like there will be sign up, right? So there will be package, and inside that package all code and classes related to the sign up of for user only, right? Suppose there is a login, so there will be a separate class for and packages for login class and objects related. Suppose there will be a cart, right? So cart related maybe a package with the cart and all the code related to cart inside that package and classes only. So in this way you can categorize your module and everything, right? So suppose I am going with array concept, so that's why I have made the package like array, just per my need I have made the packages, right? So what is the mean of using this class and objects? You guys, some guys will have some idea. Let me make some classes. And one more thing, if you want to call this add method inside the same class, so you don't need to make the object for, you can directly call by writing add over here, right? But if you want to use this method inside different class, then you have to make first object of this class and then you can directly call that, right? If I am using this in same class, then I have to I can directly call this add method. But if I am using this method inside a different class, then I have to make the object for that first, right? So I will show you in Eclipse. I'll make another project, can say class object, right? So it will be clear to you that what topic will be was covered, right? And inside this I'll make a class student, and what this class actually have, in roll number of student, right? String name of student, and I have method, suppose I give roll number is 1 2 3, or go with the same example that I have used. Int c is equal to c comma int a is equal to 10 comma b is equal to 5, right? So it will be more clear in that point. Void add int c is equal to, you can write a plus b and just print out this method, right? So this method will perform addition of two values, right? So addition is plus c, right? Void subtract, here you can give sys out subtraction, right? And here you can write int c is equal to a minus b, right? So suppose we have these two methods only, and just print this c over here. Now I have to use this add method inside some other class, maybe suppose you can take it like main class, you can say student main, because I have named this class student name, but as per the usage give the class name, you I have to be given this class name as calculator, right? But I have given the student, but class name should be explaining what the operation is performed, right? So here you can make this object of this student class student s is equal to new student, and just write like this as you have done in arrays, and s dot call the add method, right? So what it will, first it will create the object for this student, and then it will be calling this add method present in this student class, right? Addition is performed, addition is 15, so it has called the add method and it came here, and whatever the code was written inside this add method so was executed, right? So you can see now if I want to call this subtraction method, I can call that as well. You can see subtraction is 5, right? Now one thing remaining, where is the constructor? So first understand what is the constructor. Until till here anybody has any doubt? Let me first clear it, then I will be moving forward. Till here if anybody has any doubt. Everybody is clear? Okay, so please keep yourself on mute then. Bhavya, you got the thing? Okay, thank you. Monul, everyone? Okay, I'll be moving forward then. Now where is the constructor? So first let's write some rules about the constructor. Constructor is same as the class name. There is always a default constructor inside a class. There may be many constructor inside a class. Yeah, you can say it constructor overloading, right? Constructor does not have any return type. First let's understand what is a constructor. So constructor is same name as a class name, and there is always a default constructor inside a same class. So where is that default constructor? It's present inside, just because of this is present over here, this code is hidden, right? And this constructor is defined like the default constructor is defined like this like this, right? But there are some tools available in there are some you can say third party libraries or third party jars available, which will show you how to see the hidden code inside Java, but that's not part of agenda. But you can see this constructor is available, right? So if I run this code will work fine, right? Constructor, I have given the parenthesis, right? Okay, let me save it and I will run this, right? it means there is a default constructor is present inside that class. Suppose I write something over here, I can say the default constructor call, right? So now you can see that default constructor will be called first, because here you can see new student. So this is a constructor which is assigning, it is creating object, right? So this new keyword will assign some memory to it, object will be created, and this will be either termed as the reference variable, or you can say it object as well, right? Why we call it reference variable? Because once we use with the new keyword, it assigns some address to it, so you can say it reference variable, right? So this constructor will be called first, then this add and subtract method will be performed. You can see that default constructor call, right? And the third line is that there may be constructor inside a class, there may be many constructors, right? So let's make it a student. Here I have to give some parameters, right? You can have two default constructor, right? Constructor, many constructors means this is also a constructor, right? But you can't make same default constructor, right? So there may be many constructor with the different parameters, right? So here I have one constructor, suppose one another with the student with one string parameter, right? There may be another constructor with the suppose name, one integer and one string param. So I have many constructor present inside this class, right? So you can say it that constructor overloading, right? As per the usage I can make the object for this class, right? Suppose here I will pass 5. What's going to happen? Here it will call the constructor which have one integer parameter, right? So it will come here and it will print, suppose integer, I print a, right? So it will print 5, but let me give some message so that will be visible. Integer constructor plus a, right? So what is going to be output? We are going to get integer constructor 5, and then because after that I have called this add and subtract method, so these are going to call addition is 15 and subtraction is 5, right? Now one more thing, what is this method? First let me write some rule for that. This can be used only as first line statement. Inside a constructor only. Just you can see that if I give some this over here, now it's part of constructor chaining. If I will call this like this, right? I am passing a parameter to this constructor. So what kind of parameter is, what data type of this 5 is? Integer. So it's going to find a constructor which have one integer parameter. It's going over here, right? Once it came here inside this one integer parameter constructor, it has seen that this is calling a default constructor because no parameter present inside this constructor. There is no such parameter present. And what about no parameter constructor is also termed as default constructor. You can see no parameter present over here, right? So it will call this default constructor, and it will print this line, right? Default constructor call, right? Then it will be coming back here and it will be printing integer constructor. It was came from here, so it will be returning here, right? So it will print integer constructor 5. Then it is going to call these two methods, right? So then it will call add and subtract method. So first answer will be default constructor call, second integer constructor, third addition is 15, and fourth subtraction is 5, right? What if I give some here, what constructor I have defined, let me see. First is name and second one is string, right? So let me give one integer and one string parameter, and here I will give name, suppose integer value plus name. I have given integer name, right? Don't be confused, I gave it like A or something B O, right? So I will be not there any confusion, there is a mess. Oh, A plus name, because name variable is names, right? So I will pass names here. Now I will be giving, I will calling this default constructor here. Just remove this. I'll call this default constructor, suppose, and this default constructor will calling, suppose this 5, right? Now what will happen? First, this one is the integer parameter and second one is the string parameter, right? So first it's going to call the constructor which have one string and another parameter as a integer, right? So first parameter is integer and second parameter is string. It's going to find a constructor with one integer and one string parameter, so it will come here, right? So it will come inside this constructor. It will find that there is a this statement, so this method is used for calling the constructor, right? So it will call the constructor which has no parameter, so it will come over here, and at the first line of the statement it's looking for the constructor which have one integer parameter. So because this is one of the constructor which have one integer parameter, but there is no such this present, so this will print this line, right? Integer constructor, then it will be going back to the place where it came from. So it came from here, then it will be printing default constructor. So integer constructor, default constructor, and from where it came, came from the one integer and one string. So it will then print this line of statement. So first it's going to print integer constructor, then it's going to print this default, and then one string and one, and then it will call these their methods that add and subtract. Right, integer, default, and then your desired output are there. So anybody has any problem in constructor chaining? Everybody got it?
So this you will call the default method, don't give any parameter, right?
Yeah. Anybody else will have any questions? Bhavya? Okay. Santosh?
Okay.
Okay, so I'll be taking some examples so that I can take answers from you guys. Okay, that's enough. So who will answer me? Priyabhat, if you can answer me, what will the output? You can just write on your console. I'll show you the code.
Can you share that code of student class in video?
Uh, Sorry, share code where?
In the Google Meet, so everyone can take the code.
Okay, I'll share this code, but first let me confirm the output. I'll share this code, don't worry, this code is only for you guys. So if I can take answer from Prabhat, if he can answer me what will the output for it. Prabhat, you want to answer? You are in meeting? Okay, maybe he's not. Okay, so Celeste, can you answer me what will be the output?
Yeah, can you go back to the what we are calling? It will first call the default. Go to default, and then from default it will call the string, and from string it will print the string, and then it is calling this integer plus string. From there again we are calling integer. So almost it will print everything like default constructor call.
No,
From default constructor call it will go to string. It will print one string constructor one, then it will go to integer, and it
no.
will
You can write it on the chat box. So yeah, it will print everything. But what will the flow? What will the exact chaining? It will going to print that I want to.
okay. First will print default constructor call, then it will go to string, and it will print line.
Let me show you code.
So here, Vandana, I have one question doubt. So like we are calling another constructor, so it will go to that constructor first, or it will print that system currently. Suppose it comes to the default first. So and there we are calling the string constructor. So it will first go to string, or first print the default constructor and then go to string
No,
first.
it will first execute this line of statement, right? Then once it will complete its process, because this method is used to call the constructor, right? And which constructor? Which have the parameter present as a string. So it will directly
Right.
jump into over here, right? So once it came here again, see that one integer and one string parameter constructor was called, so it will going back to here, right? It again saw that there was a constructor with one integer parameter, right? So it was going here, and in this constructor, yeah,
So in
here,
that case, it will print integer constructor.
yeah, then it will be going back to the constructor which from where it came, right? So it was came from here, it will be going to print this, right? So integer value, and second one will be this, right? So from where this constructor was came, yeah, right? So this was came from this, right? Which was passing by the one integer value. So which constructor passed the one integer value? Let me see first which one passed. It will going back to here, right? No, no, this has called this one, and this has called this one, and yeah, after that it's going to print this one and then this, right? So what will the output, your exact output like this? Understand it again. It was came here, and then it printed this, then it called this constructor, right, with one string parameter. So it will be coming here, and this will again calling this one, so right? So and this, when it came here, again calling this with one integer parameter. So it was going here, and it will print this output because this chaining was stopped here, right? So where it came from here, so it will print like this one, right? It will print the variables with itself. I am copying just message. Then from where this was came, it was came from this method, right? Because this was called from this, right? So one string and one, either there is a mess up, but we should have, if we have the chaining knowledge, then we can do it. Next it is going back to its default constructor, and default constructor will be printed, right? So default constructor call. After that it's going to call their add and subtract methods, right? So I'll run this. Your desired output is this. Suppose I run this. You can see your output. Integer constructor, integer value 5, right? So name Vandan was called, and then one string constructor, and then default constructor similarly, and then addition and subtraction method was called, right? So this was the about the constructor chaining inside a same class, right? Constructor chaining is not completed yet, so because we have not covered the inheritance yet, so there is a super keyword concept also present, super method and super keyword. So once I will complete the inheritance, at least single level inheritance, then I will be coming to that part, right? If I will be explaining here, you will be confused. So this was this class level class level chaining. Now let me add up one more thing, static block. If I will run this code, before running anything, it will see if there is a static block present inside this class, right? Which you have made the object for, right? So if the static block is present, then it will run the static block first, then it's going to follow its rules, right? So first, above this, what will be the output? Output will be static block, and then whatever the output printed inside console. Right? Why static block is needed? So there are some requirements. Maybe you want to run some code before anything, right? Suppose you want to show some data uh, in your console before running anything, so you can use that code inside static block. The shared code, shared objects are also used inside there, but I will explain it brief in when I will come to those topics. But you have understanding about the chaining first, right? So what way these are going to run? So static block will run first, right? Before anything, before, if you going to run main method also, before running anything, static block will run first, right? So just remember this thing. I will be coming in more depth to these concepts, right? So for each loop is completed, class object constructor chaining for class level completed, static block, and some uh, start oops concept.
But then we can't see the eclipse.
Yeah, I'm not showing that, right? No, so yeah, okay. No. Yeah, I was seeing on my copy, I have written the agenda over that, so I was not saying sorry for that. So our agenda was that I have to cover the for each loop. What was the, let me see. Okay. This was my agenda. String array, I have completed this part, right? Enhanced for loop or for each loop, this I have covered. Class object, why we make class object, what the usage object, constructor chaining, inheritance, oops. So this I am going to cover next week. So there may be many assignments to you guys, please complete that and let me know if you face any problem, so I'll organize a session with Sumit. So anybody has any doubt in this concept?
And then we have 1 hour class or 2 hour class. At least we have a 2 hour looking guys, right?
Yeah, this is 2 hour class, but 2 hour class will be starting when we have the Selenium start, right? Why I have 2 hour class, let me explain a little bit. Yeah, this might have doubt to you guys, that's why it's needed to explain. There are some concept like calendar UI, and just for example for some concept, and some like test ng part. So these needs at least 1 hour to complete its one of the concept. Suppose I am going to explain there is a web element in Selenium like calendar UI, so it will take at least 2 hours or 1 hour and 30 minutes to explain. That's why we have these 2 hours classes, and once we will start with Selenium, we will having live session coding with the same pace. Suppose I am coding here and you are coding there. So just because we are starting, so if I will be taking 2 hours class and I will be completing inheritance here, so there will be lot of confusion. So that's why I want that you should have complete at least 10 to 12 assignments, then I will be completing those 2 hours, don't worry about that, right? So we'll be covering within the timeline. Just because I have said at the beginning that we'll be having slow first 2 or 3 weeks, I will be having some slow in this speed, right? Then I'll be taking that up to level. But first let's complete some assignments that keep this on practice. Then we cannot eat in one day, right? So I hope you can understand this. Yeah, yeah.
You can also share the logos to me.
Yeah, Abhijit, yeah, I'm coming to you, Shailesh. Yeah.
Okay. So in that 1 hour, since we are taking 1 hour class, can we arrange the week for the next 1 hour, 8 to 9, to clear the doubts within a week? That
Yeah,
class.
yeah, that's great. It's a great suggestion. Surely I will doing that. But from next week, I am going to take, maybe not next to, then to next week, I am going to take that 2 hour class, full 2 hour class, right? But actually,
That
yeah,
will yeah, that will cover two things. That one is your trading also, and another thing is the which we
yeah.
we have any doubt in the assignment, that's why
Yeah, I was planning for today, but Sumit is traveling from Indore to Noida today. That's why it's the plan was not successful. But I was trying to do that. But don't worry about from my side. I can promise you that as the things are like that, there may be 2.5 hour class as well. I will not mind. But whatever the agenda I maintain, whatever the topics I am going to cover, so I follow that rule, right? So 2 hour or 1 hour, don't think about too much. Every topic should be covered is more important, right? Everything in detail is more important. So if I this is a one,
noted also.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
you are starting with the Java lead, you start with the 2 hours class directly.
yeah,
So you can make 1 hour class you are teaching and 1 hour is a doubt.
yeah. If I talk about Sales, that he can handle the 2 hours class. That's why he raised his point, and he's valid at his point, right? But I can see many of people is struggling at the very beginning. So I want to give them time to some they first they complete some assignments, and after that if they don't complete, so that's their part. But at least I have to give them a chance, right? That's why we have 1 hour class and today. But agenda was completed because you guys don't have any questions, right? If you started asking the question like last batch started asking the question, and 5 to 7 sorry 6:45 class was there, so 1 hour and 45 minutes class was there. But you guys didn't have asked any question, there was no interaction, so that time was saved only.
Vandan, I didn't got this chain constructor concept. If you give still more some more examples, means that will be very helpful to understand that concept, chain constructor.
Yeah, okay, I got it, but I want to ask you, why didn't you ask at the time of when I was asking? If you please ask me, just explain me. Otherwise, I will be explaining. But give me answer for this question so that I can understand.
But I thought like we will be getting some more examples so that I could able to understand that. But that multiple chaining constructor when you have doing that, I didn't got that.
Doesn't matter how much examples I take, just understand the concept, right? So this method will be used in the first line of a statement, right? So after that first line of a statement, I have to jump another constructor, and if there will be this present inside that constructor, so that will be in first line only. So this is just a concept, right? So if I will take with multiple examples, there is nothing going to be new, right? So maybe first you watch the recording and then let me know if you have any doubt, right? So doubt session, Sumit will be there, and if still doubts remains, then I will be clearing your doubt. And one point I want to request you guys, just don't do one thing. If you have any doubt related to the concepts, just directly post to the Facebook group. I have two people. I am just, you can say that if I am asking help to someone, and if they are present, then just directly reach to the Facebook platform, right? Every otherwise any personal query you can directly reach to me about the, like, this is the assignment, what I have to do, I can directly answer that. But if you have any doubt related to concept, I'll request you to reach out to that platforms, right? So it will be helping us more. So every burden will not on me only, right? Because behind the scenes is very thing are going in a way, what I can explain that, right? So every burden if on me, then yeah, that's why I have Sumit with me, right? So he will be taking that the great suggestion from Abhijit. I can do it surely, but next week I will try to organize his session before my session, right? First he will take the session 1 hour, then I will be taking, so that your doubt will be cleared, and then we'll be moving to that